Hello, Noble. I'm Chief Mitchell Davis. I'm one of your candidates for second National Vice President for our great organization. And I just wanted to take just a few minutes just to give you some background on myself and to tell you what my priorities are if I'm given the opportunity of being your National Second Vice President. I currently serve as your National Recording Secretary. I'm in my third term, and I also serve on the Education and Training Committee. I'm a past president and current executive board member of the Chicagoland Metropolitan Chapter of Noble. In addition to those things that those titles that I've held and that I hold here in Noble, I've been blessed to be able to be entrusted by several of our current and past presidents to entrust me with the leadership of the organization. What do I mean by that? Well, I've been asked and invited to travel around the country to represent you, Noble, and represent our presidents in our organization. Most recently, I traveled to Washington, D.C. At the end of October to represent our organization on Capitol Hill. The National League of Cities was doing a panel, and they needed representation from Noble, and our current president asked me if I would be that person, and I went and sat on that panel on Capitol Hill and then stayed another day to sit through a day of meetings to give input from our perspective. I've been entrusted in representing us in Operation Safe Cities with the Department of Justice. I've also sat down with members of the White House who actually came here to Chicago, along with myself, the president at that time, our executive director, and the NAACP. I was responsible for coordinating that meeting and sitting down with them and sharing with them our concerns on gun violence in the city of Chicago. I've been responsible. If you remember in Florida, when we had our conference in Florida, that we partnered with the NAACP and shared a thing called the 10 Shared Principles. We adopted as an organization the 10 shared principles that the NAACP and law enforcement both agree upon as far as being able to work together. I was the person that brought that to our organization, and it was adopted by our national organization, the first national organization to adopt those principles in the country. I'm also currently working with Special Olympics and Law Enforcement Torch Run to develop a partnership between Noble and those entities. I brought an ambassador from Special Olympics to the IACP executive board meeting that we had, and she gave a presentation on Special Olympics and how we can partner with them and how it will be a benefit to both of us. So I am an active worker. I am doing the work. I've been entrusted with the work of leadership in our national organization already. And as a sitting chief, I've just been blessed to have those opportunities to move forward. And I'm looking for a continued opportunity to do that. Another endeavor that I was entrusted in most recently was that Northeastern University in Boston was given grant money and conducted a study on a project called Historical Injustice and Present-Day Policing. I was again selected by our sitting president to represent Noble based on teachings that I've had on helping to bridge that gap. Some of you may remember that I gave a presentation at one of our last conferences on leadership in law enforcement from a Black chief's perspective. So once again, I've been active in the organization. I will always be active in the organization. I'm just seeking to do it from the second vice president level. And whether I'm selected or not, I'm always going to be an active participant in our organization. Outside of our organization, I hold some leadership roles. I am also on the board of directors for the IACP. There's actually 5 Noble members, our current president being one of them, that are active members, sitting chiefs that are active members on the board of directors for the IACP, and I was just appointed by the current president of the IACP to be one of those board members. I am also the president of the South Suburban Association of Chiefs of Police here in Illinois. It's the largest regional police chiefs association in the state of Illinois, and I am the current president for that organization. I was elected and have moved up as president. I also serve as first vice president of the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police. Next year, when I become the president, I will be the first African American to hold an elected position in that statewide organization. It is truly a blessing. It is truly a blessing. And I know to whom much is given, much is required, and much is expected. And I don't tell you these things to impress you. I tell you these things to impress upon you that I am doing the work right now. I'm not asking to be allowed an opportunity to get in position to do a work. I'm doing the work right now, and I'm going to continue to do the work whether I'm elected or not. I love what I do. I love our profession. I love our community, and I'm always going to be fighting and moving forward towards that. Now, if given this blessing and given the opportunity to serve as your second national vice president, I have 4 priorities that I'll be concentrating on. The first one is the implementation of our strategic plan. We have a 3-year strategic plan, which I was part of, and I'm a champion for. One of the tenets of that strategic plan as we currently speak. But knowing that it needs to be implemented, but there also need to be strategic plans that follow it. It's not just a one-time thing. It needs to happen on a continuous basis. So that will be one focus. The second one will be our branding, expansion of our branding. We have a mighty name in Noble, and we have a lot of power behind our name in Noble. And we need to make sure that we're partnering with people and that we're out there being proactive and working with like-minded folks to promote our name and promote the things that we believe in for our profession and for our community. The third one, professional development, making sure we have college students now that are members of Noble. We need to be providing opportunity for them. One of the biggest things that I like to do is we often hear departments and organizations say we can't find any qualified candidates. Well, something that we've discussed before, but that I really want to get implemented is to have a list. To have a list of 100 or 200 or a running list that people who are interested in getting into our profession can be vetted by Noble, and they can be shown that, hey, they meet certain minimum requirements, and we know that these are qualified individuals that can at least start your process, and have that for any organization or any agency that may want that information. Another thing is through development of those young folks, and not just them, but our associate members. Our associate members are our future. They are going to be our future chiefs, our future executives, and we need to make sure that we listen to them first of all, because there are things that they want. But also, as people who are already leaders, we know the things that they need. And we need to make sure that we're communicating those things to them and making them available to them so that they can develop not just in their departments, but within our organization and in this profession as a whole. The last thing is membership engagement. We have so many experts here talking about developing a database. Another one is subject matter experts. We have subject matter experts. I've been called upon as a subject matter expert before, and there's a lot of you all out there, and many of us that do. But we need to have a standardized system so that if the White House calls us, the Department of Justice calls us, the Chicago Police Department, or somebody calls us saying, hey, we need subject matter experts on this particular subject, that we have a list of folks that we can provide them through all the experts that we have here in our organization. And then another thing when it comes to membership development is providing those associate members while we're doing leadership things at these levels within the organization. It is exposing our associate members, exposing them to some of these venues that they may not normally have access to show them things that they can strive to be. And there's one last thing that I'd really focus on that I want to mention right now, is that we have a Chiefs certification process. What does that mean? Chiefs certification, and here in the state of Illinois, we have a process by which they look at your education, they look at your community involvement, they look at your organizational involvement, they look at the years that you have on the job, they look at your rank on your job, they look at those things and they compile a number system to give you so many points. They then give you a written exam to show your competency level. And if you pass the exam, you are then given a final interview by a board that when it's all said and done and you meet all the criteria, you gain the certification of being a certified police chief. I believe Noble should have that same certification process. That process is not just for chiefs. While chiefs should have it, it's not just for chiefs, it's for those who aspire to be chiefs. And we can have those type of pre-qualified or certification levels for different ranks to help folks as they're trying to get promoted and they're trying to move through this profession and move up to the higher ranks. Those are just some of the things that I would focus on if given this opportunity. And I just ask, once again, I'm already doing the work. I know I've been blessed, and I'm asking humbly, I am coming to you and ask that you entrust me with your vote for second National Vice President of Noble. Thank you, God bless you, and stay safe.